We got a few things to talk about inside of Diablo Immortal today, including curse purifying, runes versus resonance, and just more details about the rune system itself. I actually hooked up with my good friend Ador, and we went through a whole thing about the game. Like, legit went through with him what my gem outlook should look like, building things up for my build, and really trying to just take it to the next level with what I'm building here inside of Diablo Immortal. It's trying to min-max things, and in that, well, we talked about a whole lot of things. One of them is curse purifying. If you recall, the gear we used to have in the past was cursed gear. You could see we still have some cursed gear. And all of this cursed gear had those positive and then had those negative attributes. Well, it turns out that the negative attributes since the update are now gone. You know why? They sucked. The negative attributes were so annoying inside of the game. You couldn't change them. You could only change the positive, and you were stuck with just pieces of gear that were hurting your build rather than helping, and it made it overly complicated. So how has this changed? Well, it changed in a very easy way. First of all, let's go on over here, and we're going to go to curse purifying. Now, notice I am only wearing 4 pieces of cursed gear. You could wear up to 8, and the more that you use of the same curse, well, the better your stats are going to be. So we're going to try and build that stuff up here today as I quiet down my phone so it doesn't ring in anyone's ears. All right, so first things first, you'll notice that you have the curse. Blustered, 1,000 winds deactivates. You set forth a tornado. Okay, very cool. Here, tortured. I'm using 3 pieces of tortured. 1, 2, and 3. What's the problem with that? I'm not getting the full bonuses or that 4th bonus that I could get. Let's read here. Tortured, 3 pieces. Leave a trail of lurid flames behind you when you use a dash skill. The flames last for 3 seconds and deal 36% of your damage per second to an enemy caught in the path. It can't happen more than every 20 seconds. But if we were to purify this, which we're going to do right now, we can hopefully get another one to get that 4 piece. And look at this, we got it on our first one. Tortured. Now we're going to get it down to a 15-second cooldown. We're going to choose the new attribute, and we are good. Now, 4-piece set being done, we're getting that bonus from that. It is quite nice, if I say so myself. Now, if I go to Purify, you could actually, there's a whole bunch of different traits that you can get. Choose the ones that work best for you. And there is somewhere an information button, I don't recall where it is, but where you could see what all of them actually are. It's right over here. When you scroll down, you can see all of the different ones that you could choose. Maybe something for your build would work better. I use dash skills with my Tempest, so it works out good for me. But there are a bunch of these cursed properties that you just have to re-roll for. Now, why is this cool? Why isn't this a big deal? Well, first of all, we have a lot of these because no one used the cursed gear the way that we should have. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000, 1,200 of these I have. Now, the negative thing here about these cursed properties is if I were to change my piece of gear and swap in a new piece, that attribute, that cursed attribute, is no longer there. So tortured, there's a very good chance it would go away and I'd have to try and re-roll back into it. Now, keep in mind, I could get this cooldown even shorter, I believe down to 9 seconds as I add more pieces to it. So make sure you're purifying your cursed gear. It actually gives you some really nice buffs and allows you to modify your build a little bit, which is actually a lot of fun inside of the game. And not only that, it's also effective. Now, I want to talk to you guys about runes a little bit. I don't have a ton of runes. The value of them has gone down. When I was in the market last time, when they first came out, you were able to sell runes for like 4K, for like regular runes. Well, now they are selling for not a lot, 181K. 952 for the best one. But I really wanted to talk to you guys about what they actually give you, all right? So when we go to the build, you'll notice we have a couple of runes equipped here. Now you can only put certain runes in certain spots. They're not available everywhere, but notice here, base attribute of equipped item is increased by 4%. Attack speed is increased by 2%. Now think about it when you're gaining resonance. When we go and take a look at our resonance, equipment base attribute is increased by 117.5%. These are big things that are happening with our resonance. Gaining the base attributes of your equipment. We're doing the same exact thing here, but we're doing it with a free-to-play mechanic. You can get these runes dropping anywhere inside of the game. I've admittedly not been grinding as hard as I typically do for the last week or so, and I'm still dropping runes. Now, you have other ones here that are going to be a little bit not as strong. So right here, base attribute by 3%. Damage taken while suffering loss of control decreased by 2%. So runes could very well be a catch-up mechanic for free-to-play or low spenders inside of the game to be able to gain more power and gain that item base attribute level, which is actually quite huge. So don't sleep on runes. But it gets even better than that, because right now we have these gray looking runes, right? Let's go back to the market where I could explain this a little bit better to you guys. Not Terra Essence, we want runes right here. We have more runes to come. In like 5 days, there are going to be drops of more runes. These are going to be next level runes. They will go right underneath these ones. Because did you know that these runes are all in order of how good they actually are? So take a look. The AUD runes are the weakest. They are not the best ones. And as you can see here, sellable on the market, it's going to be, oh, actually, do we get more information right here? Can we get more information on here? Yeah. Base attribute 3%, stun resistance by 2%. This is the least desirable, the weakest of all of the runes. The next strongest is the NOU. The next strongest is the WAH, followed by the NIE, all the way down to the BOL, which is currently the strongest rune inside of the game, which is giving your base equipment that 4%, and your primary attacks have a 6% chance to reduce enemy attack and movement speeds. That's awesome. Did you know that they were in order of essentially how strong and relevant they are? Which means when we get new ones, it's already going to be determined by the game which ones are the better ones and which ones are not the better ones, because they will be in order, unless if something changes. Now also, if I don't have an NOU rune, but I have 3 AUD runes, I could combine those 3 AUD runes, and what do? They turn into an NOU rune. So the way that I progress through the rune system is by combining them together until you eventually get to a BOL, which is the top rune right now. Of course, unless you just find a BOL, because then you just slot it and don't have to worry about all of that upgrading mechanic. So there is a point where you'd probably want to sell some of these, because if I get any AUDs, I'm probably not going to run them. So even though their value is extremely low, I'll probably sell them anyway, because why hold on to them if you don't need them? Make yourself 80 platinum after fees. So I think the biggest thing here, though, is that runes are actually doing something very similar to Resonance, if not identical. And it's for free. Now, of course, our whales, the big spenders inside of the game, they can gain Resonance from gems, and they can gain it for free from runes as well, which of course they're going to do, let's be honest. So the free-to-play players still won't be able to catch up, because they're not gaining all of that resonance that we're getting here from the gems as well. But it's still a way for them to get their base attributes up, which is actually quite strong and really a new mechanic for upgrading things. I also like the runes because they're pretty straightforward, right? And they drop for free whenever you're running around. I mean, I've gotten them in the accursed towers when I was farming, in dungeons, and who else even knows? They just pop up in my bag, and they're just there, and I can mess around with them. So a little thing here that I also want to share is I have decided to change up my gems. I'm going to be switching out my Maw of the Deep. My thought process here is my gem selections, I could run in the open world, and there I could use any gems. It doesn't even matter. Open world farming now is pretty easy. You're not going to die to anything unless if you are really underpowered, which I'm not. So I decided, being someone that's a low spender inside of the game, I decided to just focus on the gems that I may want to use in PvP. Ones that may be valuable to me in PvP. Because I can't level up 5-star gems for PvP and 5-star gems for PvE. I have to pick and choose. So I'm choosing PvP for when I start to dive deeper into that. So I'm actually going to be getting rid of my Maw of the Deep. Not getting rid of it. I'm just going to be making it dormant. And I'm going to replace it with, right here, my Seeping Bile. I need about 500 and something resonance, or I should say gem power, to put into this, and then I'm gonna have the double poison going on with the Seething Bile and with the Viper's Bite. Maw of the Deep, you know, it really doesn't help you that much in the open world farming. It gives a little bit of a knockback once in a while, and I believe it takes you getting it to rank 6 for it to actually start becoming effective in PvP to shed shields. So it's one that, although you can get it right now, pretty cheap, it's still one that I'm gonna put on the back shelf, and I'm gonna put in my higher res gem. I may as well be using that. Maybe one day Maw of the Deep I'll start using, but until then, I'm just gonna make it dormant. I'm not gonna get rid of it, and that's gonna be that. In the meantime, I will be putting and making the best gem in the game right now, which is the Bottled Hope. I'll be turning this into a 5-star gem very soon. I'm probably gonna go pick up a 4-star version of this from the shop, because all I need to upgrade it right now is a rank 3, which you can see we have right here, and I need a rank 1. So I'm gonna go buy myself from the shop a 4-star rank 1 Bottled Hope. And then I'm gonna have this at 4 stars, because buying it at 5 stars is crazy. You're paying 4 times the amount for the extra 100 resonance potential you get if you max it out. It's just not worth it. But before I do any of that, I'm sitting on 11,000 orbs, and because of donations from Cam and from some other people that have been donating me BattleNet credits just for doing YouTube stuff, which I thank you guys so much for, it's very generous, I'm gonna go ahead and buy some packs inside of the game, which are gonna give me the bound legendary crests, which I could use as food, because we need gem power, and I'm gonna use them to get the orbs so I could buy more purple crests so we can potentially, I've never gotten a 5-star legendary gem. Never gotten a 5 out of 5, ever. It's time. My pity has to be coming up. So that's gonna be a video that we're gonna be doing very soon here on the channel. I'll probably do a spending video sharing with you guys what I'm buying and why I'm choosing those values. And then I will do a live stream running another 100 legendary crests with you guys, the community, because I know we always love that. So take the curse purifying tips, utilize it on your builds. Take the runes versus resonance idea and think about how that impacts your builds, and subscribe to the channel so when I go live, you don't miss these runs, because they're always a lot of fun, not only for what I pick up in the run, but also to hang out with the community. I appreciate you guys.